What's up, everybody? Welcome to PixelPlay Sidequests, your bonus content here on the PixelPlay YouTube channel. My name is Adam, aka CS Radical. I am still a VTuber. It's still hot. 3 days later, not 5 minutes after we just stopped recording. Don't worry about that stuff.
Don't break the illusion, Adam.
I've broken the illusion so many times now. I think Deadpool's starting to blush a little bit. At this point, Kaylan is about to give us the most rarity that we will get in these years, which is a review from him. Because he finally finished a game. I know, shocking. We were all surprised too. But Kaylan, Rise of the Ronin, you finally finished it. How long was it, and how was it?
So I looked on my PlayStation, and it said that it took me about 30 hours for me to beat, maybe 40, which doesn't seem right. I think it was longer than that. At least it felt like that. So Rise of the Ronin is an interesting game. It is one that starts out very strong. I remember when I first started playing, I'm like, oh man, I am liking this. I like the checkbox and stuff. But the interesting thing about Rise of the Ronin is it's not a bad game. There's nothing inherently wrong with it. There's nothing there's no problems with it. The issue is that it doesn't do anything amazing. It doesn't do anything great. It is very much a game where it is second best at everything it does. So has a lot of comparisons. You can compare it to Assassin's Creed. You could compare it to something like a Soulsborne or a Neo game. You can compare it to Ghost of Tsushima. All those games are fair comparisons. The problem is that everything that it does, there's a game that does it better. It does not have a niche of its own. The story is absolutely bonkers. The combat is good. Now, in the game's defense, and I don't know if it's a huge issue, I played this on like the easiest difficulty. I did not feel like playing a Soulsborne game where I kept getting killed over and over. So my mileage may vary, but like it never impressed me later on in the game. Like it's a very long game, and it's very much like one of those, like the analogy of like a puddle that's like an inch deep and a mile wide. It does a lot of stuff. It does a lot of mechanics, but it doesn't do anything well. The combat is good, but you know, if you were looking for that Soulsborne game, it is better in Neo. It is better in Bloodborne. If you're looking for a samurai sort of hack and slash adventure, Ghost of Tsushima does it better. If you are looking for that open world adventure stealth mechanic, Assassin's Creed does it better. If you're looking for a good narrative story, well, any game would do better than this. So it's just one of those where I can't recommend it to anyone or I can't recommend it to someone unless like you are seeing it and you're like, hey, you know what? I like this kind of stuff. I'm interested in it. It's fine. It's not going to revolutionize anything, but it doesn't do anything it doesn't do anything amazing. Graphically, I don't know if it looks like a PS3 game, as people have said, but it doesn't look particularly impressive. The stealth mechanics are pretty poor. Like when someone sees you is kind of weird because like sometimes you'll be playing and like stabbing a guy 12 feet in front of someone else who's just chilling out and they don't notice. And it's like, hey, it works for my benefit, but like it's not like it breaks the immersion of the game. From a story perspective, I have no idea what the hell happened here. This is like an idea where it takes place during like the final days of like the shogunate style Japan. Basically America and all the colony countries are starting to come in and broker like peace treaties and like basically get into Japan, and it's kind of how the Japanese people are reacting to this transformation of their country. There's an idea that you can choose which side you want to be on, whether you want to be part of the anti-shogunate faction or if you want to be part of the shogunate faction. In the end, I didn't feel like there was really much choice. It felt like it was pretty railroaded. You have situations where you meet with other characters, and there's the option of choice, but it's funny because the game actually highlights like, hey, here is the choice that moves along the conversation, and here are two other choices that will just kind of, they'll say, and it will have no impact on what's happening. So like the illusion of choice in RPGing is not really there. And then going back into that shogunate and anti-shogunate groups, there were so many characters I didn't even know who the hell was who anymore. I had one guy who I knew and I liked, and I'm like, okay, him and I are ride and die for the rest of the game. I'll just follow him because I don't know who anyone else is. Like, you're supposed to build these relationships and these factions with people, but like you're literally doing that like 3 missions before the end of the game too. Like there's some people you're meeting, it's like 3 missions before the end of the game. Like, am I really going to build a relationship with this guy? Probably not. You're supposed to have these emotional battles with people that we were supposed to be friends with, and I didn't know who they were. It was like, okay, I'm fighting this person now. Okay. And the other thing that it does is that in these combat scenarios, like you'll do these boss battles with people who are against you, but so often you fight them and it just becomes almost like a Pokemon Team Rocket thing where you fight them to the death and then they just like kind of go on a knee and like heavy breathing and then they just get up and run away. And you're like, okay, like you're clearly against me in what I'm doing, but I'm not going to kill you or stop you. Like it very much has a Saturday morning cartoon feel. And like it's a nitpicky aspect too, but like towards the end of the game, I'm fighting some guy from the US or something like that. And I swear to God, he's actually flying in jetpacks. Like he's got jetpacks in his boots. And he like will hover in the air and then like dive bomb on you. And I'm like, I've got a history degree and I don't remember anything about rocket boots. So like, yeah. The crux of it is like, this is not a bad game. I wouldn't say that this is a game that you should avoid. If you are interested in this, if this is something that like appeals to you, go for it. There's absolutely nothing wrong with this game. However, if you are not interested in this game is not going to win you over in any way. So for me, in our PixelPlay score of 1 to 6, this would get a 3. There's nothing wrong with it. It's not bad. It's not broken. If you're interested, if it sounds appealing, go for it. But it's not going to win anyone over if you're on the fence.
I would say like does the game suffer from what a lot of these do where it seems like sometimes enemies are a little too spongy, or is there a case of like, you know, most enemies, like if you have like a good setup or you have a good plan, like you can take them down pretty quick?
Yeah, so like it's kind of nice how they do it. So there's like your basic footmen and soldier that you can kind of take out. You basically hit them and parry them until like their stamina is depleted, and then it opens them up for like a one-shot kill. And then you've got your people who have a little bit more experience, typically better armored or like officials. They will typically that'll have to happen twice to them. And then you have like your samurai boss showdowns, which are more like boss fights. Now, one thing I didn't mention yet, in the combat, like there is so much loot in this game. Like it drops.
I was just about
left,
to
right,
ask
center.
because we saw a screen there for a sec that showed a bunch of loot in his inventory, and I'm like, okay, is this suffering from the thing of like way too much shit?
100%. Now, granted, nothing. There's no encumbrance system. There's no like, hey, you have to organize or manage this. Like, they will just flood your stuff. But I got like probably my gear maybe halfway through the game, and I just stopped checking. Now, granted, that could be because I was playing on easy and I'm using this more as a hack and slash, but the gear did not really matter, and there was just so much coming in. So like they're like, hey, you can upgrade your equipment if you want to. I'm like, why would I want to? I'm gonna get a new gear in 5 minutes. Like, there's no attachment to anything. Like, it doesn't matter. But I also felt like the way I was playing, I didn't need to manage my gear as well. So to the point that there's actually a setting in there where you can like set it up that it'll automatically sell or automatically disassemble equipment for you. But once again, I never cracked it and I never had to buy anything because they just give so much stuff to you that like money was pointless in this game. The other thing, going back to combat and once hitting, is that they try and do this thing where there's different weapons and different fighting styles with each weapon. And I found that there wasn't really a point to this. So basically, when you're fighting, you can have up to 3 stances, and typically there's like one that is like that's weaker against enemies, and it's gonna be like they don't take as much damage, one that is neutral, and one that does more damage, or they're particularly weak against. And so it's neat. Once again, I see what they're trying to do, but they don't do anything interesting with it because like there's no choice. There's no like, hey, this one's better, like you're gonna use less stamina, or this one you're gonna do more damage. Like, there's no choices. It's just, hey, do you want the stance that does less damage, like has a negative modifier, a no modifier, or more modifier? And it's like, obviously I'm going to choose the one that has the more modifier. So you're just making this cumbrance system where every once in a while when I'm fighting people, I just have to do one extra step to change the fighting style to be more effective. And it's kind of like, what's the point? So it's a weird game that like doesn't really, I don't know, like the decisions they make are weird and they don't quite make sense to me. So yeah.
And then the last one I can think of, compared to a game that obviously a lot of people would also compare this to in Ghost of Tsushima, how's the map size in comparison to Ghost?
Oh my god, this map is absolutely massive. There are 3 different maps. There's like I think it's like Yokoshima, Edo, and Kyoto, and each one is massive, just filled with stuff. Like I was like, all right, I'm gonna play through this, and this feels massive. And then I finish it, and they're like, hey, here's a second map with just as much stuff in it. And I'm like, nope, I'm done. I'm not collecting anything. I don't care about all the activities within. I am just golden pathing this. So the map is absolutely massive, way bigger than, like, I would say probably the one map is as big as all of Ghost of Tsushima. It is massive.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's insane.
It
Was
is
I
huge.
correct in seeing that when you call your horse, your horse comes flying in like at the speed of light and you go on it?
This is one of the best things, and I hope other games take this up. This horse is amazing. It makes no idea of sense, but I absolutely love it. This horse will come wherever the hell you tell it to. I could be running, and it'll run up, and my character will automatically jump onto it and just ride. I absolutely love it. I had situations where I was hang gliding, and I would just plummet to the earth, call up my horse would end up underneath me. I would land on top of the horse and just keep going. So, like, from a perspective, I absolutely love that. The horse is the greatest thing in this game. You can like run it off a cliff and then jump it onto a parasail, glide over the chasm, and then call your horse up at the bottom, and the horse just pops back up. It's like, let's go.
All right, CD Projekt Red. There you go. There's your Witcher 4 stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's my issue with a lot of these games. And it's not like it's bad. It's just you call the horse so often, and usually it comes in, or it's like a little behind you, and it's stuck on a tree, and you're like, ugh,
you got to walk over before it allows you the animation to get on it.
Yeah, then you got to get on it. Like this, it just looked like he was walking into a city for anybody for the video, obviously, and then the horse just like plowed out of nowhere, and I didn't even know what the heck was going on. But I do love the speed of that. That does seem like a quality of life thing. Though I did also see the amount of icons on the map, and
it is massive.
Oh,
yeah, that gave me Assassin's Creed Valhalla vibes right there.
Yeah,
very much so. Yes, the size of
much.
the map is equivalent with Valhalla, where it's just too big and too much, and you're just like, I don't care.
Yeah.
So yeah, overall, yeah, like I said, 3 to 6. It's fine, but it's not going to sell you if you're not interested.
So what you're saying is PlayStation Plus for free in about 6 months ish.
Probably.
Sounds like a plan. Any last comments, Chris? Do you have any other things you want to say, or?
No, kick-ass horse, way too big map. So 1 good, 10 bad.
Yeah, so basically the 3 out of 6 is coming strictly on the horse. Perfect.
Yes.
Alrighty then, well that's going to do it for this episode of Sidequests. So as always, like the video, subscribe to the channel for more content. Linktree/PixelPlayPodcast there on the bottom right of your screen there. Get going, get on the Discord, come chat with us, make fun of, well, specifically me, let's be real, make fun of me. And, just join the conversation, have some fun with us. And we will see you guys on the next episode. Keep in mind, Retro Randos are on Mondays, main shows on Wednesday, and these side quests come out every Friday, all of them at noon Eastern. So check all the content out there. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye for now.